Battle Hunter for the PlayStation 1. For the longest time, I thought this game was just a dream, or that I'd somehow gotten the only copy in the world. Nobody at school was talking about Battle Hunter. It didn't happen. They were too busy talking about bandicoots. I wrote a couple jokes just for this occasion. Battle Hunter is to role-playing games what Macklemore is to hip-hop. Underrated. Battle Hunter, is that the game from Joe Biden's camp? There's nothing on these. They're blank. So what even is this game? Well, let's start with the company, A1 Games. They produced a handful of crappy games for the PS1, usually with a generic title. Check out their tennis game called Tennis. Or hey, how about their racing game called Racing? Yeah, you get the picture. To their credit, their only role-playing game was at least called something other than role-playing game. Battle Hunter is a tactical role-playing game where you create a hunter who takes on jobs to secure treasure from dungeons. The hunter creation isn't exactly thorough, but there is some variety to it. You're given 11 ability points to allocate however you choose among movement, attack, defense, and hit points. There are several different hunters you can choose from, each with 8 different color palette options. Most of the jobs are simple and require you to just get a specific item on the dungeon and escape with said item. The dungeon layout and the treasure locations on each of them are randomly generated. You compete against 3 other hunters who are controlled by the AI. The other hunters do fight each other, but usually only if one of them is trying to escape with the treasure. Otherwise, they mostly run around looting or ganging up on the player. Each hunter takes a turn, left to right. At the start of the turn, a 6-sided dice is rolled to determine how many spaces the hunter can move, and then you add your movement stat modifier to that number. So, for example, if you have a +3 for movement, you get to add that 3 to whatever the dice rolled to determine how many spaces your hunter gets to move that turn. Battle Hunter also uses cards for moving around in the dungeon and also combat. You start with 5 cards drawn randomly from a deck of 100. Each player or hunter can see the other hunter's cards at all times. Some cards can give you extra movement to your dice roll, and some can do other things such as add a modifier to an attack score or set a trap for other hunters to step on. Also, if you run out of cards, there is a special dungeon monster that comes out, and it is extremely strong and will most likely destroy you, so you probably want to avoid it at all costs. Combat in Battle Hunter is similar to other tactical RPGs in that it is one exchange of actions at a time and not continuous combat. When one hunter chooses to attack another hunter, the defending hunter can choose whether they want to counterattack, defend, escape, or surrender. Once an attack occurs, 2 6-sided dice are rolled for each hunter. The attacking hunter adds their strength modifier to their total, and the defending hunter adds their defense modifier to their total. The difference between the 2 hunters' total numbers, after taking modifiers into account, is dealt as damage to the loser's HP. If you choose counterattack whenever a hunter attacks you, you get a chance to deal damage back to them after they attack. If you choose Defend, you don't get to counterattack, but your defense stat is doubled when calculating damage. So if you have a high defense stat and you're just trying to escape with the treasure, this might be the best option for you to avoid damage. If the hunter chooses Escape, they get to make an escape roll. Both hunters roll 2 six-sided dice. If the hunter trying to escape has a higher number after modifiers, they escape with no damage. If the attacking hunter rolls a higher number after modifiers, they get to proceed to their attack, and the defense of the hunter who tried to escape becomes 0 for the duration of damage calculation. If the hunter chooses surrender, they give up an item they are holding and are warped to a random spot on the map. If you know the other hunter has a good chance of killing you and taking your treasure, you can instead surrender an item that isn't as important and keep from having the target treasure stolen from you. When a hunter loses all HP in battle, the attacker gets to choose one of their items and take it. In addition, the hunter who died gets warped to a random spot in the dungeon and his or her maximum HP is reduced by 50%. Any items you find in the dungeon that are not the target item, you can identify and sell to the creepy looking guy who gives you jobs. The credits that you accumulate can be spent leveling up your character or restoring your HP back to its original maximum. Yeah, you have to restore your HP once you die in a dungeon. Yeah, it's kinda bullshit. There isn't a ton of music in the game. There's a few different tracks that play while you're in a dungeon. Usually it's some generic sounding, fast-paced rock, but they're enjoyable enough. And that's pretty much Battle Hunter. You take a job, you go into a dungeon, you find an item, and you rinse and repeat over and over and over. I do think it's a fun game though. Maybe with a bigger budget and a different developer, it could have been one of the sleeper hits of the PlayStation 1. Have you played this game? Am I just making this game up? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I'm some loser named Jeff, and I want to thank you for watching whatever this is. I'll see you soon.